Hello traders, Rich here, and here's a quick but detailed update on CHFJPY. As usual, if you guys like video analysis, let me know in the comments or simply leave a like. So let's get started. As we clearly see, CHFJPY has been stuck inside this range for a while around its all-time high, and it's currently retesting the upper bound, and we also got a supply zone as we had an aggressive movement down from it. So we'll be looking for sell setups, of course, unless we have an aggressive daily candle close above it. In this case, further movement upward will be expected. But for now, let's take it step by step, right? Watching a supply zone, let's zoom into lower time frames and look for sell setups. If you zoom into H4 time frame, we know that we are overall bearish. Of course, we have a flat bearish trend. We've got our impulse, a correction, impulse, and we are currently in this correction phase, waiting for the bears to take over to catch the next impulse movement downwards. If you zoom into H1 time frame, we can see that this last correction movement is engulfed by this channel, as we can see in red. So as per my trading style, I'll be waiting for a new swing low to form around it to consider it valid and consider it my trigger swing. Of course, this is an idea. It might be like this, for example. Anyway, we want a new swing low to form around this lower trend line, as we clearly see, to consider it our trigger swing. And then for those who know me, I always highlight it like this as our trigger. When the sell is activated, the stop loss would be just above the previous swing high, which would be here in this case, in case of this projection, and we target a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio at least to have an edge over the market from a risk management perspective. Of course, meanwhile, until this sell or until this happens, until the sell is activated, such as JPY can still trade a little bit higher to test the upper bound or even break it upward and trade higher. In this case, we'll be looking for a new swing low to form and then sell on spike downward. So we're basically looking for a sell unless we have this aggressive break upward. Before we continue, I want to tell you about Tickmill. Tickmill is established in 2014 and is one of the leading Forex and CFD brokers with registered users from more than 200 different countries. Tickmill is a no-dealing desk and ECN broker regulated in many countries like the UK, Cyprus, and recently in South Africa. With Tickmill, you can trade a wide range of instruments, starting from Forex to indices, commodities, and even crypto. Most importantly, with very low spreads and trading fees. If you don't have an account yet, make sure to create one using my referral link in the description below to benefit from 5% discounts on your trading fees. And let's continue. As we clearly see, GPUSD has been overall bearish for a while, making lower highs and lower lows. However, we previously broke above the last minor high, which is also lining up with the previous major low, forming as a resistance area. But since we broke it upward, now this zone is acting as a support zone and we'll be looking for buy setups. This would be from a short-term perspective because this entire movement is simply a correction. For the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective, we need to see a break above the last major high, which would be here, also lining up with this resistance zone. When we see this break, which will also be an inverse head and shoulders pattern, we can finally say that now we have a shift in momentum and we'll be expecting long-term bullish movements on GBPUSD. For now, let's take it step by step, right? Around the support area, looking for this movement, and of course, he will be looking for a sell unless it's broken upward. And here, we'll be looking for a buy setup unless it's broken downward with a big daily candle close below it. In this case, further movement downward would be expected. This would be the correction, just like previously, and this would be the next impulse movement upward. But let's take it step by step, right? We broke above this, now we're touching the support. That's why we are looking for buy setups. If you zoom into H1 time frame, you can see that we've got a falling broadening wedge, low lows and lower highs. So we're waiting for the buyers to take over by breaking above the last high, right? So I would like to see this high getting a little bit bigger, for example, a movement like this. So I'm waiting for this to happen, and when it happens, I'll be buying on break upward. For those who know me, I always highlight it like this as our trigger zone. And when the buy is activated, as usual, the stop loss would be below the previous swing low, and we target a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, which would be inside the resistance zone, which would be around this area. Of course, meanwhile, until the buy is activated, GBPUSD is overall bearish, making lower lows and lower highs, and can still trade lower and lower before breaking above the trend line or even break the support downward as mentioned from daily time frame. Best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one.